Hi, Charles. How's the update with Hydra? Great to see you going. So, guys, open source software is like this. Let me show you a little something. I'm gonna show you guys a little something right here. By the way, we're creating something very similar for SanchoNet just because it's so effective. So I'm gonna share my screen, entire screen. Wow! So this is the Hydra website, hydra.family. And it has a user manual, use cases, core concepts, topologies, benchmarks, API reference. Okay. If you click on GitHub, let's see here. Let's get discussions. All right. So if you go ahead and take a look at the project, here's the roadmap. This is all publicly available. You guys can all see it. So you ask me in the AMA, but really with an open source project, you just have to see things. And if we take a look at our releases, let's see here, code, and we go over here, you can see there's 7,304 commits. 12 hours ago, the latest commit, and 14 release tags. There's 31 contributors. Look at all these different contributors crunching the latest data. All right, so while we're waiting, I'll just click over here because I want to go over here to these releases. So this 0.4, which is March 2022, May 2022, June 2022, August 23rd, 2022, October 27th, 2022, 2022, November 17th, March 2nd, ooh, May 11th, ooh, and last month, release 0.11. Go to the roadmap right here, project. You can see all the features, event source persistence, authenticate network messages, ability to read protocol parameters via API, submit layer 1 transactions through Hydra node, remove commit. These are all features anticipated for 0.12. Where do they come from? They came from the open source project. All the people using Hydra, all the people building on Hydra, all the people excited about Hydra, that's where they came from. And then right here, 0.12 to less than 0.1. These are all features that they want to do beyond the 0.12 release. So big team of people from the community work every day, and these cards are well-defined features in a backlog. This is not hidden. This is public. I'm not even signed in to GitHub, so anybody can see this. And when you go to this nice part, getting started 5 minutes, it explains what the protocol is all about, how to use the protocol, all the various interesting things, the protocol. And it's under Apache too. That means it's free. And you see all the different use cases, core concepts. And it explains how everything works, the topologies that it works under, some nice benchmarks and these types of things. But here's the point. Every single week, this gets better because we move from left to right. And you can see all the things we've released as a project. Look at all those completed features, okay? So you got these trolls. I'm not saying the person asking the question is, but you got these trolls on Twitter saying nothing's been accomplished, just a wallet. It's all hype. And what they don't understand is under their noses, a very successful open source project is formed as middleware for Cardano. The intent of Hydra is that it works its way into as many dApps in the Cardano ecosystem as possible. And that software, as it evolves, makes using Cardano better, faster, cheaper, and gives properties like instant finality and other things. Now, those capabilities are not 10 years out. They literally are evolving week by week by week by week and do not require a hard fork of Cardano to work. So Hydra is an indispensable long arc thing that every week, every month, every year you come and look at it, it goes from, wow, we're playing around with it, to it's running on mainnet, to it is in many of the applications in Cardano. Now, you saw those things like 1 million TPS. It's very unfortunate people even thought this way, because at the end of the day, what they're really talking about is you're alleviating the need for TPS because you're creating something in your application with other components where a lot of your logic is now running, a lot of your expensive stuff is now running. And the end result of that concept is what? It is better, faster, cheaper. Less TPS on the main chain, more TPS over here, lower latency, free transactions, instant finality, all kinds of capabilities. That's the point of Hydra. And there's isomorphism. So you have security guarantees that what happens here is the same as what happens down here. So we're moving along, and Mithril's the same way. And as things move over to Intersect, the Cardano members-based organization, Cardano Core Node will be that way. The network stack will be that way. The smart contracts project will be that way. It's a lot of work. And to bring all these different people and to have working groups for different concepts like the core node, scalability, things like smart contracts, identity, et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot. It's an enormous lift. So much work has to be done. But as it moves in that direction, you can see a single concise website. And you're moving from left to right. And the community is deciding the cards, just like with Hydra, that go in there. And every day you come back, and week by week by week, things get better, faster, cheaper. And you don't lose the verified core. You don't lose the principles. You don't lose the 2,100 days of uptime, 100%, no problems, which vast majority of distributed systems can never say. You don't lose any of those principles or those concepts. They're there. So I just don't understand sometimes the space. You have these people babbling about, and they say things like just a wallet, ghost chain, it's obsolete technology, all this stuff. Meanwhile, the Ethereum people had 8 years to figure out proof of stake, and they gave you Hotel California. And they gave you custodial staking that's not liquid. You don't really get to decide. You have other ecosystems where they're like, incentives don't even matter. We have less than 10% participation. The foundation has to take over the network to figure it out. Well, don't worry, we'll design an entirely new system for it. You have other systems, they have terabytes of on-chain storage that's related to running their consensus mechanism. 100 terabyte node, and it collapses like 12 times a year. And then you have us and chugging away. Every day getting faster. It's all out in the open, all open source. It's all there. You see, that is the mindset. It's not about today. It's about process. It's about evolution. And it's about iteration. The relentless iteration, the relentless process. That is where greatness comes from. That is where great things come from. It's also about not leaving people behind. If you promise determinism and predictable fees, if you promise the network being liquid and non-custodial, if you promise that the network stack operates in certain failure modes and conditions, you have to maintain those promises. That's a social contract to the community. And you can't go violate them because you think you might gain a slight competitive advantage and some DApp that's going to come over and spend 6 months and doesn't give a fuck at all and will leave to some other ecosystem the minute that you're inconvenient. You can't violate them for that sake of convenience. You preserve and protect them and use new science to remove trade-offs that would eliminate those capabilities that the system has. Now, it takes time, but as long as you're not losing users, you're gaining users, and TVL is going up, transaction volume is going up, and you don't take my word for it. Here's another website that's deeply inconvenient to the people who hate Cardano. Let's take a look. So, eutxo.org. Okay. Show it off from time to time, but I do so because it really does prove a point. This is a live view of the Cardano network right here. So let's take a look, kids, together. So it's loading data from the Cardano network. In just a moment, we will see a block by block. So look at this block right here. Okay. So we're going to pause it for a moment. That block right here, 302 outputs right there. And that transaction issued 32 NFTs. One transaction, 32 NFTs issued with it. Real-time view of the network. This transaction says, what is it? Filthy Rich Horse number 0. And we'll actually even go to the website. Connection not private. Oh, well. Advanced. Proceed anyway. It's unsafe. Employment cannot be found. Troubleshooting. Well, Filthy Rich Horses, you're letting me down. Got to go back to my website now. Killed my whole demo. Ah, here's the next block. Woo. Oh, you SNET guys, look at that. I know this website works. There you go. You finally got me to go to your damn website. Going back here. That's the point. Real time. You guys can go yourself. You don't have to take my word from it. This is actually connected live to the Cardano blockchain. And it's not about transactions per second. It's about transactions per transaction. Okay. Block sizes, only 88 kilobytes. And look at how much crap goes inside of this. Like, speaking of crap, that's Hosky coin right there. What's this? This is JPEG store. Oh, wow. Okay. Over here, MinSwap. People are actually swapping real time while I'm talking, and it's a Plutus V1. So that's not even a very efficient contract. Ooh, some scripts over here. People are actually using smart contracts. You got NFTs, smart contracts, DEX transactions. What's this over here? Kaizen pool. There you go. Look at that. Whoa. All kinds of things happening. These are all transactions in a block. Happening real time. Ghost chain, right? Ghost chain. Now, here's the thing. Every one of those blocks, they're going to get more efficient. Plutus continues to get more efficient. Version 1, version 2, version 3 is on the way. Already a 10x reduction. You go from like a kilobyte to 100 bytes in many cases for things. And Plutus 3, even more capabilities like BLS and these things. So more stuff goes in to each block. The blocks can get gradually bigger. A lot more happens off-chain, which means you need less utilization of the main chain. And you still preserve determinism. You still preserve predictable fees, all these types of things. So that's the model. And when sidechains comes in, you have completely different execution models. You can merge accounts and extended UTXO together. You have the EVM over there, but they're bulkheaded. So if they fuck up the world and everything blows up, it's that thing over there. It doesn't cascade and destroy the main network. It doesn't bring the main network down. And so they get better, faster, cheaper. And then roll-ups come. You get better data availability primitives. You got Mithril coming. And it's all evolving in parallel as you look. And yes, input endorsers are underway. People say, oh, did we abandon input endorsers? Oh, input endorsers are abandoned. No, they're not. Ouroboros Laos is still under construction. There's a paper coming out. Now, there's some priorities. Got to get Ouroboros Paris out and Genesis out because you need a bootstrap from Genesis, and we need to get that into the network. And you need Paris because you need instant finality, fast finality, so that your sidechain transactions are fast on both directions. It's BFT on this side. It's Ouroboros on this side. You need some form of finality gadget, so it's a bidirectional fast transaction. The very next thing after that is input endorsers. Is it necessary? When you got Hydra and Mithril and you got roll-ups on the way and you got sidechains, it will be. And it will be in a horizon of about 3 years to 5 years. That's when it's necessary. When will it come? It's your decision as a community. Why? Because after 1694 comes, you decide. Your DREFs decide. There's a roadmap. And you say, we could really aggressively push and escalate scalability like input endorsers. And here's the trade-off profile. Are we comfortable with it? And they got to make the decision. But that's real cryptocurrencies. You start from first principles and you build a system that's reliable, that's self-verifiable. Each and every one of you listening can see it down to your bones. You feel it. And it's not, trust me, bro, it's you see it. It's there. And no matter what language you speak, what country you belong to, you have the same view as everybody else in the world. And then you just keep building these technological foundations. And guess what? You get to a point where you have something very special and very magical. Cardano is, at its heart, the most elegant and complex cryptocurrency ever conceived. And Cardano, at its heart, has the potential to be the most reliable distributed system ever conceived and be here a century from now. It's self-evolving, self-governing, self-running, and it has at its core good principles about security, determinism, reliability. Every part of the system was built bespoke for you. The network stack, the transaction model, the accounting model, the programming languages, the code, nothing was taken, nothing was copied. Ideas were made into reality. Color coins, I waited 10 years for that to be a thing on Bitcoin. Never happened. Now you have native multi-asset. Where do you think we got the idea from? For you. And now you control it. It's there. And you get the AGDA, Super Haskell. You have formal specifications that are on par with what NASA does with building rockets, for medical software that goes into pacemakers, for shit that if it fails, it kills a lot of people, like code for regulating nuclear reactors, these types of things. Code that people with PhDs in computer science spend 10 years post-PhD learning how to write well. And you got that. That's what you have. That's Cardano. When you're a Cardano user, that's what you have. Alongside Hydra, alongside Marlowe, alongside all these other things. Plus the best community in the cryptocurrency space. I don't know, guys. I sometimes wish our industry was different. I sometimes wish what people viewed and believed and did was different. I sometimes wish that social media didn't exist. I live with my heart on my sleeve, and what's so crazy to me is I say the same thing again and again and again and again and again and again and again every day. And then you got the shins of the world and these other people, and they say things about who I am. Pathological liar, sociopath, dishonest, manipulative, this, and this. And I just give you this. You can see the code. You can read the code. You can see the papers. You can see the movement. And you know what? It's speeding up. It's not slowing down. And the ecosystem is so profoundly powerful and so beautiful. I'm truly sorry that some people can't see that beauty. And it makes me sad because it really is beautiful. It's the most magical and magnificent symphony the world's ever known. And it is the foundation you can rebuild humanity on top of in a world that's a lot more fair for all of us. That was why we built it. It's why we worked together. It's why so many people got so inspired and they got the tattoos and they wake up every day and they work so hard. I'm sad that people can't see that, believe in that, and are so cynical that they move in a particular direction. And I'm sad that people say things like it's just a wallet. Anyway, it is almost midnight here. Great AMA as always. I'm sorry that I haven't had a chance to do all my whiteboard videos yet, but I will do them over the weekend. A lot of stuff to say, a lot of stuff to think about. Show you guys some really cool things on PKM. Really looking into linking your thinking stuff. And of course, I will be there at Rare Evo. I will be there at CNFTCon. I'll be there at the Cardano Summit Foundations, the Cardano Summit that Foundation's putting on, and boatload of stuff to do. Download SanchoNet. We'll have a website for it just like we have for Hydra.family. And obviously, it all lives in GitHub, just like Hydra does. Can't wait to see what you guys construct. And a lot of really exciting things to come. It took a very long time to build all these pieces, and all these pieces are now coming together. And they're going to emergently produce something that I think is unbelievable for the world. So one last thing. Super, super cool thing to me is this bracelet right here. So this is not a Fitbit. This is not a fitness tracker. It's an experiment that I've been conducting with a device called a Neosensory. In fact, I'm going to show you guys right now because I think it's one of the most interesting things I have ever seen in my life. So there is a guy named David Eagleman. He's a professor at Stanford. A lot of cool people at Stanford. You go, Stanford. Okay. There we go. And he's an expert in synesthesia and studying the senses of people, sense binding, sense augmentation. So what he did is he developed a little device and it's got some motors inside of it. And the device helps for deafness, tinnitus, and hearing loss. So basically how it works, especially on the hearing loss side, is that if you have certain things like S and F It'll vibrate motors that are inside the bracelet. Now, what your brain will do, because it's neuroplastic, is over time, it will bind the signals that are coming through from this and combine those signals with the things that you hear through your ears and see through your eyes for nonverbal cues. Those three things come together, and what it does is it actually compensates for high frequency hearing loss. And for people who are deaf, there's a different protocol, but basically can augment and allow them to sense doorbells or other things. And for tinnitus, it actually helps the body distinguish between things that are external sounds versus internal sounds. And actually, the TFI, the tinnitus functional index, the clinical trials that they did, they reduced it on average 13 points on the TFI. Now, why am I interested in this technology? This is an example of sense augmentation. And anytime I see a technology like that, it opens up a world of possibilities. So I have a little bit of high frequency hearing loss. A lot of people do. I have a little bit more. I've been really harsh on my ears throughout all the years. And a lot of people in our company have tinnitus or hearing frequency loss, high frequency loss. So for the next 2 months, I'm playing around with this to see if it actually has a benefit. But I've actually already noticed a bit more crispness and sharpness. And the easiest way I can define it is it's like putting on a pair of eyeglasses and enhancing your vision. So this is like eyeglasses for your ears. But here's why I'm interested in it. Right now, the device is built for low-hanging fruit to repair hearing damage. But you probably could use this technology to train people to have perfect pitch. You probably could use this technology to allow people to sense frequencies that humans can't perceive. It's an amazing thing. And it really shows you the magic of the world. What you can perceive with your five senses is so small compared to what's actually happening. And your construction of reality is manufactured by your brain. And it's not actually reality. It's a representation of it, a facsimile of it, and you're only seeing one small part of the picture. Devices like these, what they do for you is they create an opening to enhance your senses to see the world differently. So I'll leave you with this. Have you ever seen a bee? Most people have. Okay. Have you ever wondered how a bee sees the world? So let me show you. All right. Ah, here we go. Sorry, I didn't save the picture, so I have to go grab it again. And that's okay. So all the time, every day, you guys look at flowers. I look at flowers. They're very pretty. How about that? Or that? It's how bees see these things. They have ultraviolet vision. And if you spend some time on Google, you can actually look through and see all the different ways that insects perceive the world. It's radically different than how we perceive the world because they just have different senses. Well, we're actually moving into an age where we can actually enhance our senses to see things that other people can't. And so within the next 10 to 15 years, because of neuroscience hacking and these types of devices, that's coming. And it's probably one of the most exciting times to be alive. I know that sometimes we get a little down and sometimes we get a little frustrated. And sometimes it makes us sad when people can't see the things that we see. But it is our job to figure out how to build these types of bracelets. It is our job to figure out how to open up doors and show people that flowers don't necessarily look one way, but they can look many different ways just based upon the way you look at it. So it's the same with the Cardano protocol. It's the same with the world. If you want to, you can always find a way to be negative. Nothing is ever perfect. And even Washington had disapproval. If you want to, you can always find a way to be optimistic and positive. Always look on the bright side of life. Thank you all so much for listening. See you tomorrow.